Hello. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome to the, what is it, 24, 25, 26 season of
25, 26 season of
25, 26 of
Time
Uniball
actually
and the
flies.
first session season. So I'm not normally going to be on here, but Ewan, who will be, there's going to be three presenters. So Kwame, Ewan, and Alfie. Kwame's here. I'll step in when I need to, but which is one of those occasions now. Alfie had some family emergency. Ewan isn't available. I can't remember what his availability was. I almost wasn't available when my kids had to go to hospital. I just about made it, which is why I'm here in this room and not in my normal office. But anyway, enough about me. Quams, how you doing?
Not too bad, Steve. Not too bad. I'm excited to be here. All them times of me just talking nonsense in the comments.
Yeah, now you get to be the one that everyone you get to be on the receiving end of those comments.
Oh, looking forward.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you guys here. And we've got a different approach to Uniball coverage this year. So we'll, obviously new faces. We'll be doing live. I think I posted it already. We'll be doing something which will be quite cool. You guys, as rundown hosts, will be doing like picks on the live stream, but we're not going to do any publishing of like graphics for picks or community picks or anything. I don't know about power ranking. Did you guys say you wanted to do power rankings?
Possibly there might be something along those lines down the line. There's something in the pipeline. I mean, it might be power rankings, but it might not be strictly set to divisions. It might just be overall.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be quite interesting to see like power rankings just within like, I don't know if you could do it contextually within their league. This is how powerful they are, but I mean, those people that have followed our content more recently will see that we're focusing specifically Uniball stuff on individuals rather than a team level, or not so much as a team level. So quite looking forward to that. We've had Ewan been doing all of those spotlight interviews. It's actually another one to post soon. And we'll be doing those sign-in posts, which have gone down quite well. Kwame's got an idea up his sleeve. We've got several, haven't you? I think it's going to do really well. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this sort of different approach to coverage of Uniball. I think it's going to be less combative and make us like, I think the last guys doing this show made a lot of enemies and a lot of people like slagging off Sport Tank because of the way they approach stuff. So I think not that we won't upset people. I'm sure we will, but it won't be content driven just because of something we said. Looking forward to it. I mean, like I said, I don't envisage that I'll be here much at all. Alfie's interesting because he's in the Midlands, so he's got he's tapping into a group of leagues that we really haven't had much coverage for before, or if any. But it does leave gaps. Like we don't have anyone that understands like Northern and Scottish Uniball, from what I understand. So I mean, if someone's out there that fancies being that correspondent, more than welcome to join in. But
please do.
If not, it's just going to be the mercy of like looking at history and results and having best guesses and see what's online, and we're not going to have much sort of inside knowledge or just working knowledge of those leagues, but it's all good. I remember when I started covering Uniball about 6 years ago, I didn't even know all the teams existed, like all their names and stuff. So we're starting off from a better position from that than that. But anyway, Quams, talk about what you're expecting to do this season, like coverage wise, and what you're looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to quite a lot, to be fair. Obviously the team that I used to play for, my beloved Brunel Burners, just finally gone up to the Prem. Have to give them a shout out first of all. Looking forward to seeing how they're going to get along in one of the top divisions with some of the big guys out there they're going to have to face. Looking forward to seeing the division they were in previously as well, because obviously the Birmingham Lions that were previously the top multiple national champions, they're obviously dropping down into Division 1 with Hertfordshire Cheetahs, I believe, who also are in that division, have won the national. So it'll be interesting to see quite a few things, really. I'm conscious that I've mentioned the South quite a lot because I'm not as aware of the North, but I'd say when it comes to the North, I'm interested, and intrigued to, I'd say, learn a lot more about them as well. But there's definitely a few games or a few sort of teams that I've got my eye on in terms of performances and whatnot, just sort of see an idea on how they're getting along. But there's a few games and divisions that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. So I think for this show, obviously, there's only 2 games this weekend to kick it all off, which is a bit of a shame. One of them is Brunel Portsmouth. You're going to be commentating that.
That will be.
That'll be good. That'll be a really good game. It's funny. I saw a post on Instagram with Brunel sort of mentioning that it's like, I don't know, a revenge type thing for them. So there's a little bit more to it than just it being their first game in the Premier. Is it Premier South they're in?
Premier South, yeah. There is a bit of history from way before I was even there, to be fair. I think it was like the season before.
Right.
They both played each other.
But if that's way before you were there and you're no longer there, like who from that club still carries that? Who's there that was there back then that's still like, oh, there's a problem or whatever, there's a rivalry. Like how's that? How does that get carried on in how does something like that carry on in Uniball?
Aside from the obvious ones, like obviously SJ being there, see when I went there, they told us about the game. They told us about like that whole season to a point where I felt like I was there. And obviously we can't forget the Burners head coach, James Kelvin, obviously was a player in that team as well. So the message is definitely.
So is that what it is? It's sort of like the guys that were there sort of tell the stories of it and light a fire in everyone.
Yeah, so the Burner tradition gets passed down. Obviously, I can speak for the Burners. I can't speak so much for other unis, but I'd imagine there's a lot of similarities with most teams, right? But I would say, yeah, the tradition gets passed down from the older guys to the younger guys who come into the team, sort of buy into the culture. There's a certain way to uphold yourself, certain way to behave, a certain way to carry yourself, and obviously translates onto the field as well. Everything is done 100%. You play how you train, which is a common saying. Everyone knows about that one, whichever team you go to. So I would say, yeah, that sort of culture is definitely instilled in athletes as time goes on, to the point where the guys, if I was to go back today, the guys there now still have the same hungry mentality as we had when we were back in Div 2 in my first year. So obviously the big difference is a lot of these guys are much better. They train more than we did. They do a lot more organized activity. The recruitment of players, everything is just a level above what we had, but the hunger is still there.
Do you feel so now that they've got this, they've actually got to the Premier or this level? Do you have a bit of FOMO for the team? Like, are you jealous or envious of them? Like, yeah, it wouldn't be jealousy. Is it like, are you envious of them? You think, oh shit, I wish I was still part of the team.
I wouldn't say jealous, but I'd say I'm happy for them, because obviously I remember my first year winning it all. We got the championship rings and everything, and we celebrated, and obviously run a tour afterwards. And that year just felt like a movie, genuinely, right? And even the second year going up, people thought we would go straight back down. We almost won the division again. Obviously, we faced Kingston, who had just come down. and that was a massive top of the table clash, right? So we've always been thereabouts. We've always known that we were good enough to get up there and everything. So, I mean, once I was done, I just knew that it was going to be next year or the year after. We were always that team that was talked about. Like this is our window, like our Super Bowl window, as you want to say. So we just knew we had to get it done, and I knew obviously after I'd left, it wasn't a case of I'm gone now, so the team's going to struggle. I really did think this team is in a good this team's in a good place. There's good foundations. They will recruit better. Obviously, we're losing a lot of good athletes this year and next year, but we will recruit guys who are even better than that. And the new guys coming in will be just as hungry, and that hunger only improves because it gets passed down every year. It's almost like the snowball effect, where it starts off that hunger, it just gets bigger and bigger as it goes on. People say it's been 5 years of the Burners in the playoffs, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, and all of a sudden it's like, hurry up and go to the Prem so we don't have to play you anymore. That just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually you're finally gone. We finally made it. And it's almost the same level of people almost having the same sort of feelings and expectations of when we first went up to Division 1 was some people thought we would struggle. Some people thought, we would do quite well, but they're actually quite up there with one of the favourites, obviously being SGS, and that'll be another game that I'm looking forward to because some of you may know that was my last Uniball game, that tight game against SGS. So I'd say, where's he gone?
Sorry, I've messed around with stuff.
So it's going to be a really good season for the Burners, for example, and I definitely feel like that mentality that we had back in the day is sort of translated, and it's just grown within the team. So if I was to go back today, it'd be just like before, just more intense, more organized, and just more talent overall.
Yeah, cool. Right, so what should we do? Should we have a look at each of the individual divisions and like sort of talk about how we think they're going to fare this year, and then we'll look at the actual 2 fixtures that are coming up? That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, let me see if I can share my screen because I'll get it up on screen. Right, we can see that. Let me see if I can find a better way of. Look at you. Yeah, let's use that. So you can see, this is the National Prem.
I need to go closer.
You just see your. Don't do that. That's awful. There's no way you can do that. So yeah, talk me through the National Prem. Like, how do you think this is going to end?
Jesus, can I zoom into this because I actually can't see a thing. All right, I'm seeing UWE Bullets, Nottingham Gold, Loughborough, Durham,
and then
Leeds Beckett. Yep. Top 2, I'd say, UWE and Nottingham, no surprise. I'll be intrigued to see how the first 2 games go because obviously UWE hadn't lost a game in the regular season for ages and ages.
Yeah.
They lost at home to Nottingham, and then obviously the rematch was a little bit less tight, and then the final was obviously.
Final was unreal, yeah.
Well, yeah, so.
Do you think there'll be a repeat of that this year? As in, they'll split the regular season and then there'll be a more dominant UWE performance in the final?
I don't know. I would like to see how sort of they're both recruited. Obviously, I can see how Nottingham's recruited, but I sort of want to wait until the first game before I decide. But I also do think that it'll be. I think both regular season games will probably be tight.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, the signings that UWE are putting up there, and like not even just on the field, Jadrian Clark as the offensive coordinator. It reminds me of when, so I support Portsmouth Football Club. It reminds me of when Harry Redknapp came and became our manager. And all of a sudden, we're attracting this ridiculous caliber of player that would never have gone near Portsmouth. Paul Merson and Steve Stone and Teddy Sheringham and Sol Campbell,
Sol Campbell,
Peter Crouch. Jermaine Defoe, like, you know, just with Lasana Diarra. It's like it feels like that. He's like that, you know, not that Yui were, they were three times champions. They were already, you know, peak level, but it feels like he's sort of attracted, like jumped it up another level. And from a lot of from what I can see, just from what they announce, everything about what they're doing, right? Just what is public, but there seems to be a lot of DBs and some very good O line. And yeah, it's funny because if I remember back to last year and the games that Nottingham Gold got the better of them, it was, I think, what was his name? Was it Silas Starr, their wide receiver for Nottingham? He was unplayable, right? If he wanted to catch a ball, he caught it. You know, like
just like that.
Unreal.
Like you can't stop me, jump ball guy.
Yeah, and I don't know, but I hope he's back there this year because one of the most exciting players I've ever seen play in Britball. But it was a weakness in Yui's armor, and if you could call it that, right? I mean, these were still great players, but they were being exploited. You know, that was a one part of their game that was being exploited, was their depth, was their deeper coverage.
Yeah.
So not their DBs, like their DBs were good in, you know, in pretty much everything else, but when they did get exploited, it was deep coverage. It was over the top. You know, catch them.
The next plan is get someone who can cover deep. You know,
yeah.
Someone who
so
can
it
do
looks like they've like they're addressing that. You know, with some of this the caliber and experience of some of these players that we're seeing coming in, and you know,
the way they're able to sign players is very much the way they're able to recruit athletes and whatnot. It's very much similar to how Premier League teams sign players, especially the top six. You know, they have a position of weakness. They need to sign someone to improve that position. They go out and get them. You know, it's a testament to how good they are, coaching wise, player wise, that they're able to easily recruit players from far and wide and whatnot. But
yeah, well, and I've seen quite a few SGS Pride players going over there. And I don't know, like if there's any sort of political reasons for that, like as in like because there was a lot of criticism levied at SGS for not taking the promotion from the Prem South up to the National Prem, and it is that part of the fallout, like, oh well, these players are like disappointed and they do want to play at that level. They do want to, you know, in the few short years they've got at uni, win a national championship or whatever.
I do think you could also,
different.
I do think you could also look at it from the individual perspective as well. Like maybe these guys have gone to college, you know, they've stayed in the Bristol area. Now they want to go and do another degree or whatever more advanced qualification.
Yeah. Well, like the purely academic thing.
And obviously, it just happens to be that one of the best American football teams in the country is right on your doorstep. You know, if you can go somewhere, I don't know, like moving around too much.
It seems awfully coincidental that some of the best players, like MK, for example, one of the players that I watched, several times last year because we covered all of the SGS home games. Fantastic player. Just sort of, is it not coincidental that he decides he wants this education that only UE can offer? Like, these are good American football players that will do really well in the UE team, right? They're not going to be shirt fillers, there to make up numbers. They're going to be on the field making a difference. These lads. Don't forget, SGS run an under-19 team and not all go to GSV. Yeah. So yeah, I know why they didn't choose to go up. Like I know Ben Herod quite well. Actually, I think we got him on tomorrow Wednesday this week. Tango's this week. He's on next week.
Interesting.
Ben Herod to talk about it. Yeah. So like, so the problem that they've got as an organisation is that they only do courses up to a certain age group, like that, or that attract a certain age group. It's like, like A levels, right? They don't have like I don't know. I think they do go above A level.
I think for the most part,
what it is. I'll have to get him to talk about
I'm
it
not
when he's
entirely
on.
sure what it is, but maybe they do some kind of undergraduate courses, but not quite full degrees, maybe.
I don't know. I don't understand it well enough, but Ben obviously does. And we'll get him to talk about it when he comes on. But yeah, basically, it's not like an apples for apples comparison on age groups. He's got a lot of younger lads. And he's trying to keep it fair for them, right? Like he's built an awesome, which we'll come on and talk about. Unbelievable stuff. He can share the stats of how many players have gone on to, professional contracts and stuff. They're just an unbelievable entity within British American football. But yeah, so we'll get Ben to come on and we'll get him to talk about that. But yeah, like that. So that they've got this like ceiling, and that's the reason for not going up. But then you've got players that it feels may have ambitions larger than that, right? And want to do more. I mean, it'd be good. It'd be a good question to put to Ben. Like, why do you think these lads have gone over? Like, well, not why do you think? Do you know why they've gone over and what that means? But SGS is awesome. I'm a massive fan of SGS. Everyone knows. But anyway, back to the National Prem, Kwame. So we're pretty sure we've got a lock on the top two, right? But what about the other end of the table? I think it's a little bit tougher to talk about.
It's a little bit tougher to talk about
because I can remember last year, and I think it was Leeds Beckett that were the bottom team. I could be wrong.
I want to say
I can remember because they had a lot of trouble with their coach and their staff all leaving, and it was this great big furore. And then they didn't have a great season. But now I'm told, I remember being told at the end of last year, like, oh, that's going to all change. Leeds Beckett are going to be unreal next year. They're signing this, and this. Now I don't know if that's like I said, I don't have like an inside view of these clubs at all. The closest one I probably am to is Yui, but that was through Frankie, who's not even there anymore. So like, it's I'm sort of running blind in terms of my knowledge on them, and something tells me that Leeds Beckett. Well, not something tells me. If I'm to believe what was said towards the end of last year, Leeds Beckett will be not in the bottom two, right? Like the most likely secure that third spot. And if that's true, then we're looking at between Loughborough and Durham, and I don't know enough. Like here we go. Look, someone's saying Leeds will be decent this year. That's what I've heard, right? I haven't heard anything.
I've heard about Leeds apparently being good, but it's one of those ones where I would like to, not that I don't believe it, but I would like to see
exactly.
Sort of evidence
like
first. I would like to see them at least
in the sport, isn't there? Like, you never know what someone's going to look like, and that's the same for every level, right? It's the same for well, I don't know. Blitz are pretty good at under 19 every single year, but the same for adult teams. You never quite know who's going to have a really good breakout year or be completely different to last year. So it's not a something that we don't see. Like, look at Blitz this year, man. Like, no one expected them to achieve what they did, and now they're sort of contenders for taking the one of the Prem South positions in playoffs next year, which would be unreal. That means you've got Aztecs, Warriors, Blitz all vying for those three positions. It'd just be interesting to see.
Definitely. Yeah, they almost went down. They stayed up. Even though they were quite far away from staying down, fundamentally they stayed up by the skin of their teeth, as did a couple of other teams. But like, to then go from there to suddenly challenging for the playoffs and beating the Aztecs that season as well. It's a phenomenal job they've done in half a season.
Unreal.
Half an off season. So
unreal.
It's crazy to think.
Yeah, the swing from the season before to last season is just, it needs to be studied. Like, it's that good. It needs to be in some textbook somewhere and talked about. But yeah, like so again, Durham. I don't know. I never know much about Durham. Never. Like in all the years we've done it, it's just not like they're not an organisation that I've known anyone at. I don't think Loughborough. That's where the NFL Academy is, right?
Yeah.
So like, not just the academy being there, but like it's a place for athletes, right? That's where you go if you're really good at sport and you want it and you want education as well. Loughborough are really high performing, full of
That's
athletes and
amazing. Yeah.
great facilities. But I don't I feel like with the presence of the NFL Academy as well, I think that actually is another pull for them. And I know they've been there a few years now, but I feel like um, the university team will benefit from having the academy there, because the academy is only up to high school age, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like they're doing, well, they might be doing, I don't know, they might get away with doing some university courses or whatever, but
it's definitely
it does.
something. If it doesn't help them straight away, there's definitely something that exposes them to the campus. So they might go around and say, "Oh, do you know what? Loughborough's actually quite good. You know, I used to train there back in the day." When they consider going to a uni, they know that obviously Loughborough's got the facilities to be able to host a decent American football team, because clearly they're good enough to host NFL Academy, right?
Yeah.
So kid decides to go to Loughborough for his degree, plays really well, plays in the team, makes the team better. It sort of works out long term and short term.
So just moving on, Premier North, and again our North knowledge is poor, but you've got the Newcastle Raiders, Leeds Griffins, Warwick Wolves, NTU Renegades, and Northumbria Mustangs. Is there anyone there that jumps out for you as like a better performing team?
Read them out again. We've got Newcastle,
so Newcastle, Leeds, Warwick, NTU, and Northumbria.
Probably between Warwick and NTU, I reckon. They're the ones that stood out last year, I think. And without knowing very much about their division, other than that, I believe it was that one game between those two that I was actually there last season at Butts Park with you guys. So other than that game,
that's right. Yeah, really we did that game, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't really have much to go off, but I would flip a coin and decide between the two of them, I suppose.
All right, here we go. You definitely have an opinion on this one.
Yeah.
So Portsmouth, Brunel, Cardiff, SGS, Exeter. How does that league end up looking?
Do you want the biased answer or the?
No, I want the not your heart. I want you to speak from your head. So
from my head.
How would this likely? What would you put your money on this? The end of this season looking like? This table.
I think we'll go from bottom to top, right? I think Cardiff finished bottom.
Right. Okay.
I know it's going to sound. I'm going to get a lot of Cardiff DMs in a minute, but
it's all good.
Probably
one of their games, so that they'll hopefully be nice to you.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually done a Cardiff game, to be fair. Cardiff is just really far away.
In it, man. I didn't want to, but I was like, especially with you and joining us, he's with Cardiff, isn't he? So
I have to go out there, see some of the Welsh cuisine and everything,
Welsh cuisine.
But yeah, I reckon Cardiff, then Exeter. I think the top three will be between the other three teams.
Do you?
Yeah. I think it'll be
tight. So you're saying bottom two, Cardiff and Exeter in whatever order, but then you think there's no clear. Is there a clear leader between SGS, Brunel, and
I think it's
surely SGS are the favourites.
It's between SGS are definitely more likely favourites, but I think it's between Brunel and SGS for top two. I think.
Do you? So you think Brunel coming into this league for the first time, getting promoted, and they finish in the top two?
I think so. Yeah.
Is that like? And I'm not trying to get you to change your mind, but is that do you think there's any bias in that, Like, is that not you dreaming for that, or
I
do you
think
think they're actually capable of that performance?
I think naturally, if there is bias, it's more just because I've seen what the Burners have been up to a lot more than the other teams.
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah, yeah,
seen
yeah, yeah.
as much
I,
of Portsmouth. Obviously, I saw
I
them last season in that playoff game,
yeah,
but again, I don't know how well they've recruited. I don't know, how well they were sort of the season before, other than that playoff game that we did. So, and their record that they went off. So, I mean, I know that the other teams will mostly beat up on Birmingham.
yeah,
So I'm sort of going off that it was a little bit closer between those three last season.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, SGS will be obviously the ones to beat. But I do think that the Burners going into that top division, as far as I know, this is probably a bit less spoken about, but the playing surface where they all play, obviously we all know SGS have a fantastic playing surface. And we've
yeah.
been to Portsmouth, they've got their 4G turf. We've been to, I'm sure Cardiff and Exeter have decent playing surface as well. And then of course there's Brunel Burners who play at Site 5, which, it might as well be a cemetery. So
Does them not getting into the Premier Division give them better facilities to use, like university? Are they still using that horrific ground, isn't it? It's like just boggy.
I don't know. Until I hear otherwise, I'll just assume that they're still playing at the same place, because
Yeah.
I always heard rumors while I was there that we were supposed to be moving to playing here or playing there or whatever. Um, I know that we've had playoff games that had to be hosted by the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. We played against Exeter a good few years ago. And it wasn't a home game for us. It technically was, but we had to move it because obviously we couldn't play at our home because it was just going to be an absolute, it's like you're playing in Venice. So
It's awful, isn't it? It's
yeah,
so boggy there, man. Yeah. I mean, I've gone there and just watched games, and then my shoes covered in mud. I'm like, come on, man.
yeah. Anyone from the Burners, if anyone's watching, they'll probably see me, or anyone from other teams that has seen me. Every time I go there, I'll always have shopping bags on my
Yeah,
feet.
that's right. I remember you
I don't
saying this
want my
to me.
shoes
Yeah,
getting wet
they
because
do.
then I
They
have to
get
drag that into my car and then into my house, and it's just I'm not doing that. So
yeah, yeah.
just put the little 5p bags on your feet and save the money.
Uh, so technically, you're saying bottom two. Let's just recap: two, Exeter and Cardiff. Number three's Gotland by that logic. If the top two is SGS and Brunel. That's
Yeah, I
your
think most likely. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them overtook Portsmouth into third, but I also
Ooh,
wouldn't be surprised if Portsmouth came second as well.
yeah.
But I
Okay.
feel like most likely third is probably a safe bet.
All right.
Um,
I
what
don't.
do you
It's not even
reckon?
worth talking about this one because we don't know. Like,
What one's that one?
there's Scottish. So
Uh,
Aberdeen,
wait,
Edinburgh, Napier, Stirling, Heriot Watt, and Glasgow. I think I'd say Heriot Watt are probably bottom. I don't know. Aberdeen are probably bottom. They're like the newest team.
who's the Edinburgh? There's Edinburgh and Edinburgh Napier, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So the Knights and the Mavericks.
I don't remember, isn't it? I would say. Actually, again, I don't know, so I'm just guessing. But I would
Yeah,
say the
don't.
Knights
There's
and
no
then the
point. Let's just
Mavericks,
wait until we see some games.
Aberdeen.
Same with Northern. You got we don't
Do
know
you know?
those
Do you know what would be funny if we pick teams anyway based on our lack of knowledge,
teams.
and then
Yeah,
see how close we can get towards the
yeah,
end of the
yeah.
season. See who's the closest.
Let's have a look. I'll go for. I'll just so out of Manchester. Oh, isn't there not Lancaster? So Manchester, MMU, Edge Hill, and Liverpool. Uh, I'll
I'm
pick.
gonna go MMU.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll go to Rams then. Lancaster.
Then
No, don't. No, don't do a league. Fuck that. Right, let's go on. They're stubborn. These are teams we know about. We already talked about this division. The one that Birmingham have ended up in, which is the Southern One.
yes, this was
Oxford
the one I was
Brooks,
thinking
UEA
about.
Pirates, Birmingham Lions, Oxford Lancers, Hertfordshire. This is a strong league, man.
This one confused me so much because isn't this the one I think Brighton Panthers were in it last year? So Brighton was in this division. They got moved over to the southeast, and UEA, which is all the way up there
Yeah,
somewhere,
it's like North,
is now in the
Norfolk, is
south.
it? Like,
Yeah,
is it
East
not?
Anglia. So they're like
Yeah,
what,
East
Norwich?
Anglia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Fucking-
So that confused me because why are they in the south when you've got guys? They're way more east than other guys.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
like a
It's a good
Dallas
point.
Cowboys situation, but I
I
guess
don't
maybe
know.
it's
Ask
to make the
Tony.
divisions more.
Ask Tony. Blame Tony.
Come on,
You
Tanya,
know,
get one job.
I'm sure there's logic to it, but maybe they did measure the actual distances, and it's better for everyone. Shorter
Of
travel
course,
times and stuff. It could
yeah.
be. I don't know,
Because I
man.
looked at divisions and I was like, well, it can't be to make the divisions more easy because,
Norwich.
yeah, no, it can't be to make the divisions more easy because UEA, didn't they just come down from the Prem as well, a year or a couple of years ago?
Not long ago, yeah. UEA were really strong. I Yeah, God. I don't know how to call that division. I feel like
So it's
I
just to
feel I
recap, it's
feel like
Birmingham,
I feel like
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire are, are probably one of the worst teams. Hertfordshire and Oxford might be the two lower teams. I don't know. It's hard to say that, man,
Hmm.
because I think OBU, the
I
Oxford
don't
Brook,
know how well Oxford
they've
have
just done
recruited,
so well. Like last year, I think they're going to continue in that winning trajectory, and
but
they'll be a
then
contender.
you've also got to look at the difference between the other Division One divisions in last season. Obviously, that division last year was the Burners, the Panthers, the Knights, Red Knights, and obviously, who else was there? Oxford Lancers and Hertfordshire Hurricanes. That was a tough division, but
Mm,
now it's got even tougher.
yeah,
So
yeah, like that.
because
That's a really tough one to call, but I do. Yeah, I feel like it's
when I
logical to
look at it,
say
like
that Birmingham and OBU will be two of the better teams, two of the with winning records, but
I'm
that
not so
doesn't
convinced
really
on
mean
OBU,
anything, does
but
it?
it's not because I don't think they're going to be good. I think it's more so that they're going into a division that was very tough last year, but it's now a lot tougher because I think the combination of Bruno and Brighton last year, swap them out for Birmingham and UBA. I think that's a tougher combination of teams to face
Mm,
because even though you play against the Burners, you would have got two losses. You're now going to struggle to get two wins against those four teams. So I look at it like they could potentially be sticky games. Again, I don't know how well the Oxford Brooks have recruited, and I don't know how well they've retained players as well. But there's
yeah,
definitely
I've
some
seen them
players that they could
pick
do
up good
with, like in
signings.
the
I think
return.
they're going to be strong again this year.
I think they'll be strong, but it's one of those. They could be really strong, or they could. I don't think they'll win the division, and I don't think they'll get blown away either. They'll definitely be in the mix, but I
Right.
just don't know. Whoever goes down in this division, it'll be a very tight relegation, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Right, let's move Midlands. We've got Nottingham Green, Sheffield Hallam, Derby, Leicester, Sheffield Sabres. I picked Derby. I like Derby. I'm saying they'll win it.
I quite like. Did you say Sheffield Hallam was in that division?
Yeah, Hallam's in there. Yeah, yeah,
Quite like Hallam. They're sort of always about here or
yeah. They've
there.
been solid. Right, these teams we should know more about. South East. So you got Kent Falcons,
Yeah.
Kingston Cougars, KCL Regents, Brighton Panthers, and UCL Emperors.
Do you know what? If the Brighton Panthers were in the other division that we mentioned earlier with Birmingham and that lot,
Yeah,
I would have said they've got their work cut out for them and they're probably most likely to get relegated based on what I saw the previous season. Granted, it was
yeah,
probably biased because it was against the Bruno Burners a lot of their games, right? Well, two of their games. But in this division, I think they actually have a shot. I think they have a shot at definitely making the playoffs. They have a chance to win it. I think Kent Falcons are also up there. You can't we can't dismiss the Falcons. They'll be up there.
Yeah, but I think that about 4 of the 5 teams.
Who are the other two? Who are the other two that you think?
So Kent, Kingston, KCL, and Brighton. I'm not so confident about UCL. But those other 4 teams, man, like I can see them all beating each other. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's one of those. I think
tight...
this is a weird one because the previous division, I think whoever wins it will sort of win it by a couple of games, and then the other 4 teams I feel like will be in that mix really tight. And then this division, I feel like it'll be the opposite. I feel like it'll be clear from some time who's going down, but the other 4 teams I think will be in it.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
Cool. Right, let's go. Let's move on. Oh, Bournemouth Uni, Bristol, Bath, Southampton, Plymouth. It's got to be Bournemouth.
It's the same. Is that the same 5 teams as last year in the same division?
I don't know. I haven't got any comparison for last year. It might be.
So
James is watching, so he'll probably pipe up and tell us. But yeah,
if those are the same teams, then yeah, definitely Bournemouth will win it by a country mile. You know, unless they miraculously lose all of their star players.
Yeah, I don't see anyone really pushing them in that league.
Nobody came close to
Bath tend to have like a couple of good seasons, and then they just sort of dip a little bit, and then Swansea went down and Plymouth came up.
Plymouth. I saw them against Oxford Brooks in the final last year.
I've not seen them.
Did that game with Tebs, and Oxford Brooks were in control from minute 1 to minute 60. Like they were.
I don't think Oxford Brooks are a good team to compare them against.
But then again, if that says it, then we're not saying Oxford Brooks are a good team for Blitz to compare against them. Blitz struggled in that game, then I can see the Blitz probably going straight back down.
No, I mean they're not good because of how dominant Oxford Brooks were last season. So I don't think that's an indication that Plymouth are a terrible team. Is what I'm saying. I think again this is another one. Well, I think this for all of the divisions, but we need to see these teams play. But I feel fairly confident in Bournemouth Uni Bobcats. Potentially even going for an undefeated season. Like actually, when
we consider the only thing that stopped them from doing it last season, if I'm right in saying the only thing that stopped them from doing it last season was the burners. And we can assume that.
Friends will say in a minute, he'll tell you. He's in the comments. I know you can't see the comments, but he's here. He'll pop up.
I can see some of them. They just take a minute.
Oh, can you? The northern. We've got more northern ones. I'm not even going to bother them. No point.
We'll do them after like a game or so.
Yeah, you and Ewan can focus on them. Well, wait till Alfie gets here because he'll know a little bit about them. But Southern 2, you've got Reading, Royal Holloway, Chichester, Sussex, Solent, Surrey.
Reading to win it, maybe? Yeah, it was the one loss, Rainsy said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, sorry, to go back to Bournemouth again, if they, assuming they keep 80-90% of their starters, or however much it is, and they recruit well enough. I've seen that they've signed a few players already, so yeah, I see no reason for them not to repeat again.
So in this Southern one, you think I think Sussex are going to be contenders.
Sussex aren't bad. I think I saw a few of their results last year.
Surrey were doing well for a couple of years, and then they sort of dipped last year. But I think they're sort of like the jury's out on them. Chichester have never really done much. Solent as well. And then Holloway are another one of those teams that they had they were good, then they had a couple bad years. So we sort of need to wait and see how they perform.
Holloway confuses me because a few years ago, they won their division in Division One,
Yeah.
and then the Burners moved into that division, and then they lost and got relegated straight away. Went from winning it to getting relegated, and they've been Division Two since. So
Mm.
I'm intrigued to know what happened to that team. Did they all just graduate and not recruit really well, or was it just an easy division that year? I
Mm.
remember Hertfordshire and Portsmouth were fighting that season, and then I think they tied a game or something, or someone beat someone, and Holloway overtook them. But yeah, since then I think like they've been struggling. They've just not got it together. But I think
Yeah.
Reading obviously having just come down, Sussex having some good results. Again, I don't see Chichester doing too much, although I've
No.
heard a bit of positive news at Solent as well, even though they were
Oh,
doing
really?
really bad last year. So
Yeah.
hopefully they can
Do
get
you know what? In the whole time I've been
good
involved in
results.
Uniball, I've never seen Solent do anything. I don't think.
They lost all their games last year. They were really bad last year. They lost to Chichester because I remember there was a whole thing about Chichester haven't won a game in was it
Yeah.
1,900 something something whatever days, and I was counting back on the calendar. I don't know how long it was, but like near enough 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
yeah,
it's just
like
over 3
to
years.
lose
Wasn't
to lose to a team that hasn't won in 5 years is definitely it's got to be rock bottom. It can only go up from there.
Yeah.
So I definitely see them improving. I don't know how good they'll be, but I think like they'll sort of lay the foundations this year. It's a good opportunity for them to, you know. I feel like Div 2 is, it really is the good. Like it's get out of there as quickly as you can, in my eyes.
Yeah.
So
And then another Div 2, Southeast, QMBL, Imperial, Greenwich, City Wolfpack, and Essex Blades.
so it was that City, Essex Blades, Greenwich, Queen Mary, and
Imperial,
Imperial.
QMBL.
I feel like I've played against all of those teams in Division One.
Mm.
Um, Goodness me, that one's tough.
Isn't
That one's
it?
tough. I could literally call anyone because I feel like whatever year it is, it'll be a different one. You can pull names out of a hat.
Yeah. I think it's a problem with teams at this level. At that level, it's sort of
All it
could be
takes,
anything, couldn't
all
it?
it takes. I feel like at that level, all it takes sometimes is one really, really good linebacker, or like an unstoppable running back, or whatever. And all of a sudden, you have one GB level player in your team, and they'll
Makes a
just
massive
use you about
difference.
50 times a game.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
then the
like it's a
last one,
lot
so
easier to do it at
Gloucester.
that level.
We got in the last one. We got Gloucester Bullets 2, or UE 2, Worcester, Swansea, Aberystwyth, and Bath Spa.
Oh,
Gloucestershire probably the
yeah, I've heard good
favourites
things
there.
about Gloucestershire. With what limit again?
Swansea just got a new, and
I have
Swansea
very
were
little
really bad
limited
last
knowledge
year, and they
of
had a really
the team.
toxic, um, like a really toxic feel to their squad. But they've got a new head coach now, and I think we'll see a lot of changes there. They've got a lot of potential, Swansea. But is it, with a new head coach, it's more likely to be a building year than a performing year.
Especially in
Um,
Div 2. But I also feel
mm,
like in Div 2, the difference in the quality between Div 2 and Div 1, especially between, the top Div 1 teams and the teams at the bottom of Div 2, is that you
oh,
really can call it an experimental developmental year and still win the division.
mm,
Some teams they go down from Division 1 and that's an experimental or developmental phase for them. So if you're going through development and you're not at least competing. So I got no battery. If you're going through that development and you're at least competing at Division 2, then a lot of things
mm,
need to change. I think,
yeah,
yeah, every team that wants to be able to compete needs to be able to launch a genuine challenge to get out of Division 2 minimum. You know,
yeah, yeah,
Otherwise
yeah.
it's just rebuilding, rebuilding, rebuilding.
All right, that brings us to the games this week. So we'll start with the one that is up north, Prem
Mm-hmm.
North. Leeds Griffins and the Newcastle Raiders. Leeds are at home.
Leeds Griffins at home to Newcastle Raiders.
That is a tough one to call. I'm going to go Leeds Griffins, I think.
Did the Raiders just get relegated last season, or was it the?
No, I think they got relegated the season before.
The season before they got relegated, that was it. Because this is Prem North, isn't it? This division.
The Prem North, yeah.
I think it'll be a tight game. Is this game being streamed?
I don't know. I'm not that I'm aware, but it could be. I've never, you never know week on week, but certainly not year on year what teams have been able to do in terms of live streaming. But Leeds Griffins have never done any live. They've actually been Leeds Griffins are probably one of the teams that have been over the years poor with their even their social media. So I'd love it if it was, but I'm not that I'm aware. We'll see. We usually don't find out that stuff until like the day of the game, where someone will message us with the link. Can you share this? And you're like, yeah, but why don't you send it to us in a week? But yes, to my knowledge, no, but it could be.
Based on that, I was going to say Leeds because they're at home, but based on the fact that they're not good at their social media, out of spite, I'm going to pick Newcastle, just so I can say, work on your social media, Leeds.
Well, because we need to know yet because they haven't lost. Okay, cool. And then Brunel Portsmouth. Do we need to ask you?
Are you going to play
it safe and hedge your bets and say, I'm going to say lose?
Well, no, because if I say Portsmouth, I can't go to the Brunel side and say, good luck, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to back my boys. Anytime they come up, look, the Brunel Burners could play against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I would still back the Brunel Burners.
Well, that's just stupid. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. You never know. There could be an upset. If you support a non-league club and they get drawn against Liverpool or Arsenal in the FA Cup, you're still going to go to the game because there's a chance of
NFL, mate. Let's not try and compare NFL to the lower league and a Premier League team. But yeah, I do think Brunel are going to win this game against Portsmouth. I really like Portsmouth. See, I'm from there, and I like we live stream games there. I really like Portsmouth, but yeah, I think Brunel. I agree with you in terms of what season they've got ahead of them. I think they're going to have a winning season. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they perform against SGS.
I think this game is going to have.
It's interesting because SGS. I think that's both their last two games. I think they're under 19 games they've played and lost them. Oh no, they played. Oh, I think they had a friendly with Bournemouth on the weekend and lost by like 2 points or something.
Did they play against Scotland recently?
They played, yeah, but that's under 19, so it's not the Uniball side.
Because I saw a highlight of one of their touchdowns.
Was it Team Scotland? I think they're called Team Scotland. Team Mighty Oaks in the Midlands.
All I saw was that one. There was that one pass that was doing rounds. I think it made it quite viral.
Unbelievable!
It was a throw over the top, and in real time you couldn't see it because the guy sort of just like.
In real time, mate, I wouldn't have called that a completed pass. But
I didn't see it until
nailed it, mate.
I paused the screen at the right time. He's got 1 foot in bounds, and his other foot is literally just hanging. But
that's crazy. What you need. Yeah, he got it. He got it. That's done really well online. Like literally tens of thousands of views. So that's done awesome.
Yeah,
she's awesome. That's a good thing to see, and hopefully we see more of it. There's been a growing trend the last couple of years with videos, and then either them pulling together really nice highlight clips in between games, or doing a really cool end of season or half season, little mini documentaries. And I'm looking forward to the Wembley Stallions one. I thought it would be out by now, but their one is like 2 years worth up to their win recently. But yeah,
I like doing that as well because it brings the sport into the spotlight, and literally any publicity. I was going to say any publicity is good publicity, but not necessarily. But for the sport, more people need to be aware. There's so many people in this country that love American football, but to this day, they're still not aware that you can go and watch your local team down the street, and a lot of them
No.
if there was an opportunity to watch. There's so many people
Well,
that I
you
see
know
in the
what?
street, and it's
One
like,
thing I
oh, you play
saw
American football. I'd love to
one
come
of
and
the
watch.
NFL games this recently, not the one just gone, the one before. Roger Goodell, is that his name, or Goodall? I don't know how you say his name. The commissioner of the
Yes,
NFL,
Dracula.
sitting each side of him while watching the game were two British flag players with their BAFA medals on and in their GB the GB tracksuits, and I was like, that
Hmm.
we should have been doing that ages ago. But brilliant, great thing to see, right? Like that starts that
100%.
they didn't even need to call out that there was these players next to them who they were. People will just see it and be like, who's this? Who are these people? Why are these guys sat next to the commissioner? And like that level of exposure is massive, and hopefully we just start seeing more and more of it game ground. We see more and more people out there. That I'm seeing more and more photographers that are traveling quite far to get to games, and producing some amazing content. And like I said,
There's
the videographers,
even like
live
groups on
streaming
social
happening
media,
more.
like Facebook and that lot, where people share photography from like Bucks and Buffer games and all
Yeah,
sorts. People share tips with each other. I've seen people asking questions about what cameras so and so uses and whatnot, and
yeah,
people are really there. People are willing to help each other. So
yeah,
the community is really growing, and that's something I like to see. It doesn't matter who it is. Whether it's us doing a live stream, or Tom, Dick, and Harry down the road doing a live stream, or literally anyone, or teams doing their own streams. Yeah, that is something that grows
yeah,
the
yeah.
sport as a
I
whole.
always said this. If
So,
we get to a stage where every single team is live streaming all of their home games, mate, we're like Britball is onto a winner.
mhm.
Because it's like it just means that we're doing the right things by the players, by the sport, by the clubs. The clubs can get their own revenue streams from it. The players get the exposure and the film. The sport obviously just grows. Like, it's massive. It shouldn't be that there's just like a couple of outlets offering it for free, trying to do what they can with it, and like that. It's good. Like, that's good for the sport, but there's bigger opportunities for clubs if they do it themselves. And I've always said, like, oh, if any clubs out there want to know more about it and how we do it and any advice, just give me a shout. Like, I'm not trying to monopolize Sport Tank's live streaming coverage. I'm just trying to do something to help the sport. If the
I
sport ends
honestly,
up not needing help because everyone's deciding to do it, cool. I'll find someone else to help you guys out with. Like, I just it was a conversation between me and Sebs like a few years ago. Like, he was like that. We sort of said, like, this is the most valuable thing that could happen for the sport, and it's been true. It's massively valuable. And since then, I see people with drones at games. They're not allowed to do it when the game's on, but pre-game and post-game, you see drones going around, and that footage getting out there. I see a lot of practice stuff, a lot of coaches posting drills. There's just ever growing content out there, and I think at Uniball, you've got a lot more people with more time that can do that for you around a club or around a university. So there's really good opportunities to connect to a media team or people
people are
doing the
more likely to
journalism
want to
course
do
or
things
whatever.
because of experience, because it might
Yeah,
be related to their course. Whereas
yeah,
at a senior team, it might be harder to find said person, because most people, when they're playing senior ball, they have families, they have jobs, they have livelihoods and all
yeah.
sorts.
It's
Some
just a
people
little bit
can't devote as
tougher.
much time.
Yeah, I
So
mean, where there's a will, there's a way, and all that. But yeah, you typically you take the average uh, university student compared to the average old. It tends to be that the university student's got a bit more time on their hands to be able to do that sort of stuff,
100%,
and
yeah.
and actually even skill set, they're probably a lot more skilled. And it's like the whole digital native thing. These guys know about that they can edit videos on their phone, and there's all different apps and software that can do it. And it's like we're starting to see it be embraced more and more. And I think clubs should, especially Uniball clubs, should really take that opportunity, because it's not the only way, but it's a key thing to the sport growing, is even just letting people know it exists. And like I said, what started this off, that every now and then you'll just get an amazing clip. Probably once a month there'll be a clip that just takes off, and it gets picked up overseas, and people watch it again and again, and they comment on it and they share it, and it enjoys a little bit of the spotlight. And that, like, if we can get more and more of those from British American football teams, then the sport's gonna keep gaining interest. So yeah. Anyway, I know that hasn't this wasn't a soapbox event for me to talk about the growth of the sport.
It definitely is going to grow though, because the
It's
thing
just
is,
good. Like,
even like if little kids see it, even little kids seeing it on TikTok, for example,
yeah,
and all sorts of whatever, they're going to see it and be like, I'm going to try that. You know, the same
yeah,
way everyone and their uncle and whatnot in the 90s saw flipping Eric Cantona flag kick someone, and all the kids decided they want
everyone's
to
like,
do
oh, I'm gonna go and
it.
kick him.
You know
I'm
what I
gonna go
mean?
and kick someone. Yeah,
But like, people see things on the internet, even if it's something small, they want to recreate it. They say it looks cool, whatever. Kids want to recreate it. They want to play the sport. More kids want to play the sport in school. Kids want to play the sport when they go out of school. People start
yeah,
joining clubs. Uniball gets bigger. Britball gets bigger. The whole lot, you know. So it can really grow. It just needs the right steps and the right people to do the right things. And I think it takes an effort from everyone as well, because in order for the sport to grow, we need people, i.e., spectators, watching the sport. Whether that's, you know, the more your best chance of getting people to come and watch you is by getting your game streamed, in my opinion, because then people will see
well,
you
for
on live.
Uniball,
They see
yes,
you and they'll be
because no
like,
one
"Oh, I'm gonna come out to watch that."
be outside when it's pissing rain, freezing cold, you know, back of a
Hmm.
university campus. Uh, yeah, that's why I think Uniball should be the the teams that are really prioritizing this extra media stuff. But
Yeah,
they're also got they've got the potential to have the largest audience as well watching it,
hmm
and
because
sharing it and getting
people will
engaging with
watch and engage because
flipping
their
it.
friends play for the team. They go to
Yeah,
the uni, so they just support whatever sport it was. You know, I remember when I was a player, we'd finish training or whatever and go watch the futsal game or the
yeah,
netball because it was on the Sunday and we had nothing else to do. Um, but not just that, but because also they were our uni, we'd support them, because if we wanted them to come out and support us, it's only fair, you know.
yeah,
So there was that. There was varsity, obviously. St. Mary's, who we have varsity against, didn't have a team, so we just turned up and support everyone. So from that,
ah,
people
right,
came out to support us, you know, because it was almost like a goodwill thing as well. You know, let's go show them some love because they show us some love, and it's more likely you'll get that with a
yeah,
uni team as opposed to, you know, let's say for example the Solent Thrashers. You know, what teams in the local area can we reach out to and say, guys, come and watch us perform in a sport that you probably don't know the rules to, and
yeah,
etc. etc. You know, that's where you have to
yeah.
go for the locals that actually like the sport a lot
Do you
more.
know what? I think it's a really good point about Uniball, and I'd love to know which uni is probably the best at that. Like, which university American football team benefits the most from that type of relation. I mean, I'd off the top of my head, Birmingham Lions jump straight in
Hmm.
as a team that have always been widely supported by just a bigger student body. But there
Explosion.
must be others out there, and it'd be quite interesting to might be quite an interesting thing to look into and see if there's like universities that actually do, or not necessarily the university itself, just the teams that create this culture of supporting. I know you see them doing. I see stuff on social media all the time, like, oh, we're going out with the netball team, or we're going out with I don't know, cross team, or we're going, like they'll have different nights out that they're going out
Hmm.
together and meeting up and see it socially, but it would be good to see it from like a sporting perspective as
From
well.
exploring, so yeah, because it's
Mm.
quite. I think it's quite common that you get it socially. I remember being at the Brunel Burners, for example, and we would have, you know, regular joint socials with the cheerleading team, which I imagine
Yeah,
quite a lot of unis do, you know,
yeah, yeah.
especially with it
Always
being
get put together, don't
socially
they?
stereotypical. American football
Yeah,
cheerleaders, they come
cheerleading.
hand in hand, right?
Yeah,
So it's very easy to do socials together, especially when both squads usually are quite big, which means you get a lot of numbers, which means any sort of games, activities, or anything you want to do, you've got a lot of people, and it just makes for a better socializer overall, right?
yeah, yeah.
In terms of getting them to come watch your games, a lot of teams will do that as well. Cheerleaders, teams will have cheerleaders at their games. We've played games with cheerleaders at the games.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And then they might bring some of their mates to keep them company because it's freezing cold and we're outside. But yeah, I don't think I've been to, other than Explosion and games that are like heavily showcased like that, I've not been to a game that had over 100 people on the sideline. Probably maybe once. I think there was a there was actually my first ever playoff game for the Burners way back in Div 2. It was absolutely pissing it down. The weather was horrible, but it was a tight game that went to overtime, and it was the Burners' first playoff game in a while. And obviously, that year we had people come down to watch, but also Burners used to do regular massive house parties that used to have like what 4, 5, 600 people turning up. So the Burners were popular in the area. So people turned up because they knew the Burners and obviously wanted to see big playoff game. I can't say the same for other unis or even if it's a thing today because I guess not as many people have big house parties like that again, like these days, like in America. But also, it's just harder to get people to just come out of their flats to go support a team in the freezing cold. It's just harder overall. I
Comment
think
from Gary saying East Kent used to have their cheerleaders there to make the girls did admit they didn't know why they were making them. It sounds like my mum, but they understood or understood the game, but they were there.
We should do it as well. Literally, if we have people on the sideline and they're like, we don't understand the game, we don't know what to cheer for. Well, just cheer when we cheer, make noise when we make noise, and keep quiet when we're quiet. Just copy your crowd, copy your sideline. That's all I can say. If the other team's cheering, then obviously don't cheer. That's about it, really. And I don't know what else they could do really to get people to, apart from, I guess, building stadiums, but that's beyond the university. You can't get them to, build a whole stadium. But if more teams were able to have funding to have either games in local non-league stadiums or if it's close to campus,
in the estate, like just covered seating.
Just covered seating anywhere. Even if it's just on a field or by a running track or whatever.
Yeah, just covered seating. That's a big step forward. I mean, it doesn't account for the freezing cold weather, but still, it's like it's at least we're dry and somewhat, But yeah, it's it's
obviously the better the product, the more people will come.
With Uniball, it's like
you bring a coat, bring an umbrella.
You need fair weather supporters before you get your die hard, and you're not going to get fair weather supporters when the weather's not fair.
And also, again, what I say, the problem with when I talk about Britball, Senior Ball, when I mention this sort of thing, is if you want to get people to come watch your games, those are the main things. One, somewhere to sit down that's dry and warm or not cold, which the warmth in the summer is not an issue. You just need covered seating if it rains. And something to eat or drink, as long as there's a bar local. Obviously at uni, 99.9% of people are 18 or above. They want cheap alcohol. It's probably pretty easy to get cheap alcohol. Obviously, someone might need a license to actually sell it, but if someone wanted to say, tickets, free shot under the table, whatever, £1 to get in, you get 100 people, £5 to get in, you get like flipping somewhere to sit down, a drink, and a hot dog or a burger or whatever. People can start making money off it, but it needs to be a product that's worth marketing before you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't charge £100 for a ticket to watch two Div 2 teams with an attendance of about 50, slinging it around, and there's leaves all over the field. And
well, that's why I like live streaming, because you could charge like a £2 entry access fee or whatever, and people can watch it in their own comfort of their own home on the telly or on their mobile. Gary here said it's quite funny. UA had their cheerleaders give away a 15-yard penalty for taking the piss out of the Welsh team that they were visiting. I love Britball. I love Uniball for those sort of things that happen, man. That just like leave you shaking your head and laughing. Anyway, right.
I love Uniball
for this episode, Quams.
I can say just in time because my battery started dying.
Good. Well, it's, yeah. Hopefully, I won't be here much, and you be in Ewan run with it. I think Ewan's first one is in another week's time, like 2 weeks time, isn't it? And then he's on it. So that'll be good. But,
he's recovering right now, so get well soon,
no,
Ewan.
no, he has, no. It's a week today that he has his op,
Oh,
and then he's
okay.
recovering.
Best of luck with the operation. I hope it goes well. I'm just gonna hold my phone. I can't lie.
Yeah, man. All right, well, I'll leave you to it and go and see where my kids are. Hopefully, they're asleep.
Right.